So with the Abandoned announcement, teaser, opening teaser thing coming tomorrow, I want to kind of go over the game and talk about it, talk about the rumours, the discussion, the theories, the everything, and kind of just throw my kind of thoughts into the wild and how I feel about it and what I'm expecting from it. Just ahead of time, because the announcement is tomorrow night. I believe it's 3 PM in the States and around 8 at night here, so I might not be there like when it initially happens, so saying that now, I'm probably not going to cover it tomorrow unless it's a big deal. If it's a big thing and it is like a big reveal, then I will. But if it's a small teaser, which I'm kind of expecting, like a brief thing, I probably won't touch it for a few days. Real quick about what was going on, there was a game announced a while ago now. It goes by the name Abandoned, but that is obviously the teaser name. And through tweets and kind of advertising and marketing for the game, it kind of all pointed to the fact that this could be a new Silent Hill game or a remake or whatever it could be. On top of that, people were kind of relaying it back to Kojima and stuff like that. I don't really get why Kojima when Konami is who owns Silent Hill, but people were tying it to him because obviously the PT playable teaser that came out years ago was a Silent Hill game that Kojima was working on. And he's done many things like this in the past, especially with Metal Gear Solid 5. The advertising for that game was very suspicious up until a proper announcement. And people think this might be the same thing, and it's an announcement of a new Silent Hill. On top of that, Blue Box Studios, who is this indie developer making this game, are a PlayStation-owned company, and what's weird about that is PlayStation, when it comes to indie developers, PlayStation are very actively kind of promoting their games, and on their state of plays, they do indie sections. They do like every few weeks. There's always like a post on Twitter about them kind of showcasing new indie studios that are making new games. But with this one, this indie studio, everyone keeps saying that it is, and they say they are. They don't advertise what they do. They don't advertise the game. Not once have they advertised this game, which has a trailer, which they've never posted back. And it's all weird. It's just weird. In terms of my personal kind of history with the Silent Hill games, I have played the second, the third, and whatever the one was on Wii. But I still like the games. I've watched multiple playthroughs of the first game. I played through the second and the third a bunch of times on PS3. So, I have a kind of history with the series, and, it is kind of, it's not a Resident Evil clone, but it falls in that survival horror kind of genre, which is massively interesting to me if you couldn't tell. So, if this is a Silent Hill game, that's great. If it's not, it's still kind of great because they're making a survival horror game, and that's already interesting to me as it is, like as a genre. So, I've been kind of paying attention to this whole thing play out in the background of everything, and it is all interesting, like the theories going around and the hope that it's Silent Hill and stuff like that. It's been going around for months, and it's very interesting to see. Although the developer themselves, I mean, his name's like Hasan or something like that, he did come out and say, this is not a secret Kojima project, this is not a Silent Hill game, it has nothing to do with the game. That did throw a spanner in the works in terms of the theories, but people are still out there kind of saying it's Silent Hill, or not. It could have just been something they had to say because of an NDA or something like that. It's very far-fetched, but, if they say it's not Silent Hill, and it is the case, then you can't really be disappointed when it isn't a Silent Hill game, because they just said it isn't. But on the flip side of that, the advertisement and the marketing for the game before they said this isn't Silent Hill was so on the nose. Like, there was one post they made where the title for this game, this Abandoned game, it ended with an L and started with an S. And you put two and two together, that's a Silent Hill game. It's a survival horror Silent Hill game. And maybe that was not the best move to make if you're trying to promote your own game, because I think the game got a lot more traction behind it when it was rumoured to be a new Silent Hill. Obviously they did come out long after that and say this is not what it is, it's our own thing. We have no kind of connection with Hideo Kojima, Konami, Silent Hill, all that kind of thing. So it's not what it is. But nevertheless, it's been fun, really fun and entertaining to watch these theories play out. Even for one moment, I was like, could it be? Like, is it Silent Hill? But now, personally, as of right now, as of like the day before the game is announced or first teased, I kind of sit on the fence of I don't think it's a Silent Hill game. I do think it'll be something completely new. Do I think the marketing was terrible and just not well done in terms of kind of making people believe it was a Silent Hill game? Absolutely. I think they should have gone around that a different kind of way. But, you know, mistakes happen and there's something you can do about it. But how I feel about the game is I'm going into it tomorrow thinking this isn't a Silent Hill game. If it ends up being a Silent Hill game, I'll be very surprised and super happy about it. If it's not, then I'm not really going to be disappointed because I already kind of think it's not going to be one. So if they come around and say it's not, then that's fine. I also see a lot of discussion around the whole if it's not to just boycott the game and, you know, shit on the developers and stuff like that, and that's not really like the coolest thing to do. I understand, I completely get the blunders with the marketing and how just not very well done it was, but at the end of the day, if this is an indie developer making a survival horror game that looks that good, let's be honest, from the teasers we've seen and the images we've seen, it does look very, very cool and very, very high quality for an indie game. But, you know, if it is an indie game, a new thing, completely on its own, and they announce it and that is what it is, don't shit the developers, don't boycott the game. If you're interested in the game still when they announce it, then just support them. I know a lot of kind of, you know, Silent Hill fans that are kind of jumping on this and saying, you know, it better be a Silent Hill game and stuff like that. But if it isn't, you know, it's not their fault. I mean, it kind of is. Like, it's a fine line to walk. It kind of is their fault for unintentionally hyping it up. And then again, I think they were probably aware to a degree of what they were doing. But, you know, if it's something they've been working on for a long time and it's not what the majority think it's going to be, don't trash the game, because it could be a good game. You know, from what I've seen, it looks visually good. If it, you know, plays well and the story is good, then it's a good game. But, you know, I can kind of expect and see the backlash they'll get if it's not a Silent Hill game. But I'm just saying, don't be one of those people that just goes and, you know, shit talks to developers and completely just boycotts the game entirely. If you're interested in the genre and you like survival horror games like me personally, and probably a few of you watching this now, then just give the game a chance. If it looks good to you, then just give the game a chance. You never know, it might be really good, you might really enjoy it when it releases. Now, as always, this is just my kind of thoughts on the whole situation. It's been up and down for the past, you know, 3 months, I think, and it is entertaining. I like when this type of thing happens online, especially around games, and especially around things I'm interested in. Like, this has happened before with Metal Gear, and I used to, when the Metal Gear games were good, you know, Metal Gear Survive was a bit, but, you know, from Metal Gear Solid 5 below, like, I love those games, and when the initial marketing was going around for Metal Gear Solid 5, and it was like this whole random studio was making this new game called Phantom Pain, and, you know, the whole thing with that, and it finally being announced to be on Metal Gear game, I loved it, it was great, and then the payoff was worth it. But, you know, if this is legit and it is just their game, then I'm not going to be mad about it or disappointed. I'm, again, going into it tomorrow, like, this is going to be a new game, a new survival horror game that could be interesting, and with the kind of like 10% chance it could be a Silent Hill game. Like, I'm not 100% saying it's not, but I'm sure as hell not 100% saying it is, because if you haven't heard in recent news, as far as I can remember, the people behind the game that came out on Xbox called The Medium, which is coming to PlayStation in September, it's a psychological horror game. They've partnered with Konami to make a new game, and I believe the studio that made The Medium and the Blair Witch game, which I have down there, which I quite enjoyed. It's not the best thing ever, but it's pretty good. They've kind of partnered with the Konami to make a new game. There is kind of the suggestion there that they're making a new horror game, and it's Silent Hill, so there is that. Obviously, the reviews Medium had and the reviews Blair Witch had could be dicey, could be kind of bad. Obviously, people do just want either a new game, or they want this to be a new Silent Hill game, or they just want a remake from Konami themselves of the first one, or something like that, in the same kind of form of the RE2 remake and the upcoming Dead Space remake. But who knows? I don't know what the future holds for the series. I don't know if it's ever going to come back in the way it was. you know, maybe just play it safe and make a remake of the first or the second or the third, you know, do something people already like and already love, and that way, you know, it may not be a new Silent Hill game, but it's just something new to experience, you know what I mean? But that's kind of my kind of rundown of the whole situation before tomorrow. I wasn't going to do a video, I wasn't really thinking about it, but, you know, I briefly checked in with the account earlier today, talking about how the patch is live tomorrow to experience the opening teaser, and people were still saying in the comments, you know, it's Silent Hill, or if it's not Silent Hill, you're going to get loads of shit, and, you know, just don't be one of those people. If it isn't Silent Hill, yes, it's disappointing, but they never said it was, so they may have implied accidentally that it was, and that is their fault, and they should take full responsibility for the kind of false advertising in a way. But, you know, give the game a chance, have a look at what they've got to offer, and if you don't like it, that's fine. If you do like it, then that's great too. New game to play. But, that's going to do it. I don't really do this type of video often, so hopefully it all makes sense, and, you know, people can kind of agree or disagree with me how they please. Do let me know your thoughts on the whole situation in the comments, I would love to see it. But I'll be there tomorrow, watching or seeing whatever it is they announce, and if it's something worth posting about or talking about, then I will. But in the meantime, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of videos going over the experience. If you have a PS5, download the app. Again, it's tomorrow night for the UK, afternoon time for the States, and I think that's the rough time zones for everywhere else. But yeah, just give it a go, give it a watch, and let me know what you all think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.